Well, that was a sure. This one is just for kids. I talked to quite a while. No, I felt bad for her. She's got siblings, and they just can't deal with it. She said, it's right. She takes care of us. She said, and she goes, the long story.
For the board to punch out a lot of details, but it's an open
And she
meeting.
goes,
Public comment should be there.
I think, well, I've been inside for years. I used to go in because we used to buy vegetables and starter plants and stuff with him. And, it's gonna take some work. But,
Okay, thank you, board members for coming. And Jeff is here, so we'll get started. We only have 2 things on the agenda, so let's, I'm sorry? Yeah, so let's call the meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, so,
Supervisor Christopoulos,
here.
Trustee Boxer, Trustee Dietz, Trustee Shepherd, Trustee Scrigo, Clerk Pratt.
Okay, thank you. First item on the agenda is new business. Les, who's oversees the technology, website, Facebook, cybersecurity now. We asked Jeff to come in and give us a presentation, right, for cybersecurity. And I know, Jeff, you went and sent the technician for the assessor's office because they had an issue. And so maybe you could quickly address the difference between a per call, like if we need something done on our computers or whatever, per call versus a monthly type of thing. Briefly. And then, of course, the cybersecurity. So we are recording these, so if you don't mind just going ahead and taking it, and you can present it to us. How much time do you think? 20 minutes?
10 to 15.
Okay, good.
So I'm Jeff Ryder with RWK IT Services. We're based in Frankfurt. We are a business-to-business IT service firm. One of the industries we work in extensively is local government, which includes townships. So we have many townships in the state of Illinois who are customers, and we are aware of and in tune to the needs of the supervisor's office, the assessor's office, and the road commissioner's office. So what I've been, when presented with the need of the Assessor Gauchon, we conducted some reactive support to repair something that wasn't working right. And so that's one of our mainstays. And for that, we just charge an hourly rate. So we can think of it as time and materials, and that's how we conduct that business. You could call us tomorrow if that laptop had a problem and we could repair it. Another part of our business is full, ongoing, so-called managed services or outsourced IT services. Based on your size of 5 to 10 computers, you might not need that, you might not be warranted, but there is a base in today's world that you should consider, from my professional opinion, and that is cybersecurity protection. In the past, all of us operating these devices and PCs at home are familiar with things like we buy a computer, we put on antivirus. Whether it's a Mac or a Windows machine, we use antivirus. You should. But in the business world, it's not enough, because today, what's happening, every single week in the news, you'll hear about a breach somewhere. And those breaches are designed for the sole purpose of stealing money. Yes, sometimes they want to defame the end organization in order to get money, or sometimes they want to exfiltrate data and sell it to others, also earning money, but that's what cybercrime is all about. So we have evolved over the past 8 years into a heightened state of cybersecurity protection along with our IT services. Because any entity in the United States, including government, is handling money. We gotta pay bills, we receive funds, we pay funds, and that's what the bad actors are trying to do, is to get in and steal your money. So for the Green Garden Township, I can see that there might be a gap from what you have on your equipment today for what we see the industry as a standard needs. I'll describe how we find that out, because we just don't say, you have a gap, and here, go buy this, or use this service. That's not the right way. So, again, we can provide reactive operational support like we did to Assessor Bouchon. And for example, we're familiar with the property management system database that Jane uses. It's the same one that the county uses. And townships in Will County, like many counties, do have to have their own local property management database system. Take, for example, that contrasts with Cook County. Cook County has a centralized system, and all their townships remote in and use Cook County's system. So there are some needs operationally, especially for the assessor here, that require that they have the computers in those in that office have at least an operational standard and protection from cybercrime. As it extends out to your other computers, the clerks, or perhaps the road commissioner or anybody else, then you still have an operational standard of you got to protect yourself from theft. You lock that door when you leave. You have to do the same thing with computers. So we can help you, if you wish, by conducting an evaluation on all these machines respectively. We use two things. We use a business conversation, which we've done mostly with Trustee Shepherd. And we also use technology that can run on these machines and evaluate them faster and more effectively than a human being can. And from that, we would propose what, if anything, you should do to increase your protection. And then there's another component that we see as a potential benefit for Green Garden Township, and that is today, as I understand it, you don't have a need for a centralized server, with the exception of the assessor's office. She has a server for her property management database. So you, as a disconnected team, have islands of information, like clerk has a computer, perhaps the road commissioner has a computer, assessor has some computers, and they're not connected. They don't have to be. However, those machines all have islands of information, so your records, the clerk's reports, they're safe and sound on that computer so long as that computer is safe and sound, meaning it doesn't break or quit working, or it doesn't get compromised by an attack. So what we propose, if you'd like our help to do this, is to simply complete an evaluation on any computers that you have. They will come back to you with, here's what we see, and oh, you don't really need to do anything on those computers, or here are a few things that we would suggest you do to those computers. Typically, most organizations find that there's something by today's standard that can be beneficial. So there's two reasons that I believe you should think about having that level of cybersecurity. One is what I've already stated. Cybercrime happens to all of us. I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't have their personal information exposed on the planet. Over the past 15 years, databases have been hacked into, and all of our information is out there. Now, it might not be up to date, but it's all out there. So it's just a fact of life. So that first part, I suggest you look at that for the township, to protect the township's assets. However, secondly, you can benefit from technology today that's very affordable, where you can create a repository in the so-called cloud, which really means running on somebody else's servers. for the purpose of centralizing the township's assets and providing for a safeguard with data backup. So again, today, Assessor Bouchon has to be responsible for backing up her data. But Pratt has to be responsible for backing up her data. There are mechanisms out there that you can use where you just store your files and we connect in a backup service and they get backed up automatically. So that preserves the integrity of the township's data. In order to also prepare, besides that technical evaluation and business evaluation, I did speak with your current web hosting provider, Chris Russell. He hosts your website. Today, he also provides through that service email, which is provided pretty much gratis. No charge is included in the web hosting. That is not uncommon in the past. However, by today's standards, it's problematic for one very important reason. Typically, those systems don't allow you to lock it beyond a password. So many of us in this room might be familiar with what's called multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. If we go to our bank and they force us to, receive a text message when we log on to determine that it's really us. There's other forms of authentication. That email system, which we also operated something like that back into the mid-90s, doesn't provide for the ability to be protected by multi-factor authentication. So as a IT professional, immediately I say, I think you should consider protecting the township. That decision is solely yours, but these are probably the two reasons that I would say, you could look to have us help. And that is, create understand if you have risk from a security standpoint, identify it, and then we'll make a recommendation on what it would take to mitigate that risk. Typically, it's usually a service from some company that you pay each month for, a certain number of dollars per machine per month. And then secondly, have a file storage system that sits in the cloud. It, by the way, comes along for the ride with your email service, paid email service, and is also safeguarded with data backups. So that's a path that we would suggest you take. And whether we work with a township or a municipality, a city, state, or village that has 300 computers, whether we work with a township that has 5 computers, and we do have numerous customers like this, and fire protection districts or small and that sort of thing, we can help, identify your risk is, and then right-size a solution that you're only paying for what you need and not extra. You have to be informed to make that final decision.
I'm sorry, could you also explain why you suggest Outlook over other ones?
So the question from Trustee Shepherd is, why do you suggest Outlook? And more accurately, what we're referring to is Microsoft 365 email and file storage ecosystem. There are 2 big players in the world, Microsoft and Google. Microsoft's product is 365. Google's product is Google Workspace. They offer very much the same services and at the similar prices. Microsoft is typically more familiar with most business people, and it's more ubiquitous in our experience. The thing about either of those ecosystems, if you purchase the email, and now you're safeguarded with that security of two-factor authentication like your bank uses, you just get file storage as part of your email investment. So you would go from paying $0 for email today per person to something like, depending upon the type of email resource, $12 or $30 per month per person. So you will increase your operating expenses, but you not only get email that's secure and robust, you also get a filing system that would be backed up and protected. So that's the reason why I definitely recommend moving away from that, what we'll call a legacy email technology, which works fine. It just doesn't have some safeguards in it, nor does it have any capability to store files.
So is the workspace is Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail's product is called Workspace, Google
What
Workspace.
we use right now? Are you asking?
No, I mean, that is.
But when each of us use,
That is what we're using right now, right?
No.
you're using the Gmail mail,
Gmail, yeah.
but not necessarily the storage area
Oh,
of
not the
documents.
workspace. Okay, I see.
And then there's a distinction between any of us who use Gmail for our own personal use and Google Workspace for business. And the distinction is the free Gmail service. And by the way, you can store some files up there. It's an island for each person. And it is available for Google to read your content, so it's not necessarily private. And for a government entity, that is a concern. When you turn the corner and go into Google's so-called Google Workspace, that allows you to take your identity, greengardentownship.com, plug it into there, and now it does become a more robust business environment that's centralized and it has some safeguards, better safeguards in it.
I have both at home. I have a personal account and I use Workspace for my business. And I was just talking to some, does your firm even have that as an option, or you just?
We do.
Because I was just recently talking to someone a few days ago, Andy from Leicester Building, and he said his company just switched to Outlook, and he's really struggling with it because it's more cumbersome. I don't know, maybe it's because he's used to the Gmail format.
I think so,
Is it?
Yeah, I think, some farmers like red equipment, some farmers like green equipment. It's a little bit like that. And it's a joke, but it's definitely true. It might be what someone was accustomed to,
Yeah.
but they operate slightly differently. But the end result is the same, generally
Pretty
speaking.
simple, because I've never used Outlook. I've used the Workspace.
Yeah. Microsoft is it's commonly agreed in the business world that Microsoft has deeper and greater controls for security. I don't know that would be something that we would leverage for this township, but they are a little bit ahead of the game in that regard. But there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to sneeze at. I don't wish to disparage the Google Workspace at all.
It's about $12 per email.
Yeah.
Per
Well,
month.
and the way that the Microsoft system works, it's lesser if you only need email. Let's say for Trustee Deeds and Trustee Strigo, but you need email plus the Microsoft desktop suite like Word and Excel and PowerPoint or Prep. So that's where the variance can come in the monthly fees. And with Google Workspace, you don't get any software that goes on your computer. You do it all on a browser. That's another distinction. Whereas Microsoft made themselves compete with Google so you could do it in the browser. But most of us in business still need to use Word and Excel and sometimes PowerPoint. So Microsoft has turned that transaction into a monthly number. So some people who need that will be more per month because they're paying for software. And other people who don't need that, just the email, will be less per month.
As far as saving everything in the cloud, what you're saying is what we're doing now is individual emails. There's no cloud. There's cloud that comes with this.
Yeah, technically speaking, from my talk with Chris Russell today, you have a fashion of a cloud for your email storage. Yeah, the email is on a server for greengardentownship.com. As he described it to me, that mail is a copy is left there. So you could say you do have cloud storage for email, but there's no mechanism to store documents. So clerk Pratt's minutes she can't store in that same repository. She can't easily share them. She can email them to people, but she can't easily make them available for sharing. So those are some nuances that are a little bit different than the email you have today. So you are in the cloud for email, yes. my knowledge, it's, well, yes, I would stop with that, yeah.
And just, but that means if whatever she stores are time or, any kind of billing information on the computer, something gets lost, damaged, or stolen on that computer, we got no way of. Right.
Yeah, the alternative is each person has to be accountable for their own backups.
Go back.
It's just backed up. It's just-
So some of us could, like, let's say we said, hey, we want the clerk and we want the assessor's office to have that, but maybe I don't need it, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. We don't, it's not all or nothing, right, with this? Or is,
No, Supervisor, it is kind of an all or nothing, because when you take your identity of Green Garden Township.com and you move the email component of it, everybody goes along with it at once.
I use Gmail and Outlook for
you like Outlook?
it's just,
But I mean, we could use the other one does the same thing as we use.
No,
It's just that you don't have
not
the,
for me. Sorry.
it depends on the user, and you might not have some of the features like the desktop, you still have to buy that. We have Google Workspace customers, for example, who use it for email and files, and they still pay a monthly fee to Microsoft for their Office suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. There's one other thing I want you to think about too, and that is cyber liability insurance. Do you currently carry cyber liability insurance for the township? Some townships get it by way of their membership to Township Officials of Illinois through TORMA. Some townships buy it independently. And the latter is typically because it's a more robust coverage. But if you have cyber liability insurance, and I would encourage you to think about looking at it for the sole purpose, not because I sell insurance, because I don't like to buy insurance like anybody else doesn't, but more from the perspective that if you have an event, a cybercrime event where somebody tricked another person into sending money to the wrong place, or a cyber event that damaged all your files and then sent you a ransom letter for payment. Cyber liability insurance can be used to file a claim and get your remediation paid for. And why should you listen to me? Well, I see the devastating effects of this all the time. About 1 year ago, in the middle of July, we get a call from a customer very close to here, Tinley Park, commercial entity, and they got hacked. In the end, it was about $35,000 to get them back in business because of just the immense amount of work. We averted to have them paying the bad guys, which was more. But that's the scenario that cyber liability insurance can cover. The reason I bring this up is if you have cyber liability insurance, the policy comes with an initial questionnaire that says, do you have these safeguards in place? They call them controls. Do you have multi-factor authentication? Do you have data encrypted at rest? And all these technical things. They want to make sure that you have these safeguards in place so that you have less of a likelihood of suffering from an attack. And so that can drive your decision to implement these as well. So if you have cyber liability insurance, we can help look at what the questionnaire was to make sure that you have your due diligence and you're doing the things that will support your ability to successfully receive the benefits from a claim if you should ever need it.
So there's a monthly charge for email, $12 to $20?
Something like that, 12 to 26, 12 to 30, something like that.
Okay.
Forgive me, I don't have those supervisor right in mind. Yeah.
just trying to get a feel for it. And that automatically goes into the cloud as part of that, though, correct?
Yeah, in that case,
No
you-
extra fee for that.
Correct, you get file storage.
And
with
then
that.
protection, cyber protection,
That's different, that's added.
that's different, right? So
And
how
that
much
can
is
go,
that?
that can go from 15 to $30 per machine more. Typically, we see it around the $20 range. But I don't want to make a prediction on that until I see the configuration of your machines, because we don't want to put things on there that,
Sure.
you know, somebody makes money, but it doesn't do you any good.
So it's possible it could be $50 per machine.
That's
For
correct.
both email and protection, and then.
50 to 60 is the high,
50
but
to
probably more like in that 50 range. That's what I see typically.
And then the liability insurance is something else, and that's about how
correct.
much?
Well, cyber liability insurance in today's standards obviously differs based on the industry, healthcare, government, private business. And it depends on the amount of coverage you have, $1 million, $2 million. But I can't venture a guess other than to say, we have $3 million worth of coverage and it costs about $12,000 a year. So maybe $4,000 to $10,000 is just a wild guess.
Torma, right? That's not.
Torma is different. Torma is much more inexpensive.
Liability insurance?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the coverage is commensurate with the low cost. It covers very little.
Jeff, I did find here from Torma, cyber liability that we have with Torma is $100,000 each current per member and $100,000 annual aggregate each member.
Okay.
That's part of our Torma package.
So,
Cyber liability.
so what I can do with that, Trustee Srigo, is I can, you would have had, somebody would have had to answer a questionnaire about some controls, you know, and I can look at how they answered it and see if you truly have those in place today.
Right. And I'll try to get that information for you. All I have is our deck pages.
Yep.
Okay, so who responded to the questionnaire or how it got answered, I don't have that with me right now.
Yeah, and the fellows at Torma can give it to you.
But I can get that.
Yep, for sure. And then you can look at what they cover, especially your background, Monroe Insurance. You can see, you know, what's going to be covered, and we can also, as just as a service, because we do this so much, provide you with a checklist, and you can say, yeah, I like your checklist. Ours matches about a third of it. We're fine with that. Or, ooh, I have a gap, and then you can decide if you need to do something different.
I just have two other quick questions. The test, does that cost money to do tests on ours? And you and I talked one time about my home computer. I use my desktop for a lot of supervisor stuff. Would that need to be tested as well? And is there a cost for testing?
Okay. So the test that we are proposing to provide, we have the ability to do so-called penetration tests and a level 1 risk assessment for our customers. And we get the ability to do 3 free ones in a month, but we can't do it for like the Peatone School District with 500 computers. We can do it on a small handful. So I'm able to grant you gratis an ability to do it because you've got probably less than 10 computers, and we can just make it happen at no cost. That process is typically $2,000 to $5,000, depending on if you were to purchase it for your company. Now, as to your question, Supervisor, about your computer, if you're using an asset that's not owned by the township for township business, then I guess you have to make the decision on, do I want the risk of, if I don't have similar controls in place, and you may have more controls in place, should you have these on there. But we can run that test on your machine, and it would likely be valuable for you to see, to incorporate into this, since you're going to be using that machine for, let's say, email for the township.
But if I or someone else used a personal computer, could we still could the township, if we chose to, I'm not saying we would, but could that fit into the whole program here?
We can do that. We can do that.
But if we're just using an email, if we switch to, say, Outlook, and we only use our personal computers for email, it's protected through Outlook, right?
So the question is, if we only use our computers for email and we protect Outlook properly, therefore we're okay. The technical answer to that, Trustee Shepherd, is no, and here's why. If your computer, which you use for other things, has an exploit on it and you get infected, you have family members in your home, and if there's something gets on there, gets on your machine, that can filtrate into the email, and it can cause email to do things like spoofing you and that sort of thing. So it is not a fail-safe to say that. It's usually the base of the machine. There's a set of tools that help safeguard that, and then there's the email. It does get dicey to put tools that we would put on, let's say, for Pratt's computer or Assessor Bouchon's computers, and put that onto your home machine. That could be dicey. So there might be some risk that you know about and accept.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any other questions for Jeff? Really appreciate you coming in.
Is the answer, Jeff, for the township to have its own iPads or laptops and have a personal computer for your personal stuff? Is that part of the answer or what?
No question. No, that's the best solution. Sometimes it's not commercially feasible. Tablets, specifically Apple iPads, do inherently have a different style of operating system that would really safeguard you from that. So without question, if you can fund it, yes. I do not let anybody in our company use their own personal assets with the exception of their smartphones. And some companies don't even let employees use their smartphones. So without having a township asset, there's definitely a risk, and it's better if you can make that work.
Jane, did you have one question?
Well, I wanted to stress the fact that I would assume you're either going to make a decision on this very quickly, whether we're going to have a contract or whether we're paying for the assessor needs on a one-off. In other words, I need to know that very quickly. I've got several things I've got firewall issues, I've got licensing issues right now, which are huge. I've got a variety of issues here that I've got to get addressed probably very soon.
Could you do this? Could you please send an email with those issues to all the trusts, the whole board, and to Jeff? And we'll talk again about monthly fees, because when we talked last time, I think it was like $1,000 a month to have it on call, $1,000 to $1,500, which is a big expense for us.
Well, let me clarify for that. We have a plan what we call managed IT.
Oh, boy.
Managed IT.
Okay.
So for example, if you have a lawn care business and they're going to cut the grass and they're going to spray cut, you kind of have a managed lawn care business. Or you might hire the neighbor's family, and different people come and do it, and they come when you ask them to. We can work with you both ways.
Both ways, okay.
You don't
Can you
have
give us
to.
a quote on it? Can you give us a quote on that?
Yeah.
What your hourly is, and then what your monthly would be then? Okay. So if you could do that, Jane, that would be
I
helpful.
can, but you realize I'm not going to know everything until he gets in there and he starts. I've got issues that have been, they're growing issues because I've been neglected from an IT standpoint for a while. So I won't know everything until they come in and actually
And do the testing?
You
Well,
already did the
They have to
testing.
address it. They have to address it. I don't know what the answer is going to be.
I think in your case, Assessor, we're talking about, you've got some operational issues that need to be looked at,
Correct.
and it's hard to just peer into that computer's mind and know what they are, so there's a little bit of work of investigating, but I would say that should just be taken as time and materials work. If we go in there and we find out that the assessor's office needs 3 hours of work and it needs license A, then we just make that happen. You would have visibility to that as soon as we did the evaluation, which would be billable. I also know that Assessor Gouchon shared that she's got a network appliance, a so-called firewall, that's got to have a renewal here in the next few weeks. So that's a time-sensitive thing that should be looked at, and we can help decide for her and with her. Is it okay to add a license for another year? Is the device at the end of its life? Because vendors do take things and end of life and that sort of thing. So I think that in this case, this can be done without any sort of ongoing contractor service, but rather reactive to keep her operationally sound.
So are you saying you would go to her office and check it out? And did you say that's billable or
Yeah,
that's?
that definitely is billable. That's just
billable
service.
just to look at
That's
it?
like you hire your CPA or your lawyer or something like that.
I'm just asking, just for clarity.
I'm also curious for that, if it is she has a separate budget, would that fall under our budget first?
Right now, you've got it under yours. That's how you have it designed.
I know security would fall under ours, but
How long, it's hard to say how long it would take to look at it, huh?
I would say within an hour and a half, we would know that we could, what the scope is.
That's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Township public, I think sure had to get done.
All right, so,
We would at least know what the scope is,
yeah.
and or maybe solve something in the process, but it's gonna be some hours worth of work, whatever that number is, I don't know.
So this is not a voting time, it's a workshop, but I don't know that we need it. It's in our budget, we have the right to do that. So are you guys okay with the assessor and Jeff getting together on this and taking a look at it right away?
I think we're gonna have to.
Okay, so go ahead and do that.
Otherwise, we're gonna be stopped.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's gonna be stopped and being.
Yeah, just keep us in the loop, please. Just email us and let us know what's happening and all. Anything else? Because we've got the next big topic.
Well, I wanted to point out one other thing which is very important to me, and it may be somewhere down the road for you, depending on how you use whatever software. Outlook is integrated with Hands, just so you're aware of that.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
good with
so-
Outlook too. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it will save me some
Yeah.
clerical steps, if you might, to be able to automatically have those emails that come in from customers and have them hooked right into their property record.
Yeah,
Does that
you
make
probably
sense?
get more emails than most of us, other than maybe the clerk, but yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah, you get a lot of
Whole
emails.
lot.
So we'll work with that.
And then one other thing, and this is purely from a resident standpoint. I've been here for a long time, and I do remember when we lost financial data, just disappeared here out of the township. Laptops disappeared, things crashed. We're no longer that small little township. We can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Just lose everything we've got.
Well, and thank you, and that's why Jeff's here, yeah,
Thank
right?
you.
So we're good. Anything else? Jeff, thank you very much. So if you could please contact Wes after this, the next few days, and then of course James.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're gonna be in contact with Jeff then shortly to get done what you need to get done. Yes, please.
Yep, I'll make them a punch list and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wes, for spearheading the attack on that, and for Jane has some things that need to get done, so that's good. And he did go and fix something for Jane, and he was very good, quick, and did a good job. The next item has to do with the town hall, number 4. Town hall option number 3, which is build a new town hall. So what I want to do, board members, is give an update on the grant, the building estimates, and the timeline. So let me just start with the grant, and then if the residents have any questions or anything, if you could hold them till the end of our discussion on this, in the public comments, that would be really helpful. Okay, so here's what's going on with the grant to this point. I think you guys know we're working with Accenture who's the liaison between our township and Will County. And our contact person is Matt. Anna is the head of the department. So I've been working with Matt every 3 days. We've been talking. And what we've done to this point is, I believe it was July 17th, that we turned in an application to Accenture for taking the grant money and bringing it over to this new option. And as we mentioned many times before, the big key there is it going to do something similar for the community? Let me point this out very distinctly. Many times, they are not that excited about building a town hall so that we can have our meetings. That's not why this grant is there. This grant is really there for the community. The grant is there, obviously we'll have our meetings, but even in the original application that I read, there's quite a bit of conversation about how this is going to benefit the community. ADA bathrooms, community events, that kind of thing. So that has been turned in. I also turned in a timeline to him that we could look at in a few minutes because that was important to the county. The county wants to make sure that we are going to complete this project on time. So the grant update is Accenture has it. We're expecting Accenture to turn it into Will County on Wednesday. They're going to make any small adjustments that they need to, although they looked at it already and said it's very, very good. It hit all the right points. It was done correctly. No issues whatsoever. I added the timeline when he asked me about that concern. So we added that timeline. So that's where we're at. Matt tells me it could be 2 weeks to hear back from the county. If they have any questions, they will contact Matt, who will contact me, and we discuss it. So that's about where we're at. I want to assure all of us that we're not spending any money at all until that grant gets officially approved for the new township hall on the 6 acres just south of here. So any questions on the grant update? Good on that? The building estimate. When Ralph and I met with one building company. Monroe and I met with the other, Lester. Seems like we're really excited about Lester's buildings. Monroe, did you want to address how much they were? Or I just have new insight for these. I could put it on the screen.
Yeah, you may as well move in.
All right. Let me just try to, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Where you're sitting, you're more than welcome to. You can't see it all. I just want to go ahead and show you these slides real quickly, just to give you a feel for what we're talking about. This building here is not what we're talking about. This is actually someone that they've done. But I'll show you. Yeah, sorry. Oh, it is up on that screen a little bit. You guys see that? Okay, so this is one that we got a price for. It is 73 feet wide and 51 feet deep. And it's going to look nicer than this rendition here. This down here is that Rosetta stone. It's 3 feet high, and it would just decorate the front up. It's a post-frame building, which in common vernacular out here, it's a pole barn. I don't like to call it a pole barn because it doesn't sound like it's a nice office in a community center for a pole barn. But it's a post-frame building, all steel. what they end up doing is they provide the structure, of course, and they install it. So the same company that provides it, installs it, there's a concrete contractor that we would need to pour the slab once the building goes up. They actually, Lester in this case, would pour all the pillars around the perimeter, and they pour the concrete in there and everything, and then they erect the building. And then when this is done, then the concrete floor goes in. So this is one side, 73 by 51. That's a look of all 4 elevations. What was important to us was they have a little area here, 15 by 10, where people could walk in from each side and then go into the building. A lot of big windows. This is the rear of it, where there's a glass garage door. Again, a lot of windows, a couple doors there. The other size we looked at is 52 by 72. In other words, 52 across by 72 deep. Looks virtually the same, but the width on it is 52 instead of, what did I say? 73 or something, 72 by 51 versus 52 by 72, so that it goes deeper. This is more common, less on the width and more on the depth is more common. And then there's this one here. This is the Cadillac. This is the Cadillac. Okay, so what this is, keep hitting this button here. This is 42 wide, but really it's not. It's really 66 wide because you've got these monitors, they call them, these bump outs with a shed roof on each side. And then the windows up on top like that. And these were, on each side of the building would be the necessary offices that we need along with storage. And they're about 12 feet by about 10 feet wide. So this total is 66 by 52. Okay? And that's the back side of it. Instead of the windows there, there'll be doors. So this is really preliminary stuff here, but I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea. All right? So that's what Monroe and I looked at more recently. This is that Rosetta Stone stuff. You see them on fancy houses too. So this would be at the bottom, 3 feet, just to give it some character and dress it up a little bit. And then again on the inside, we would drywall it and finish it. Okay? So that's that. Now, let me try to give you a rough idea on price. And we're in the process right now of doing all this, so this is really preliminary stuff. But just to give you an idea, this building here will be anywhere from $180,000 to $220,000. This one, he just sent over, I don't know if he sent it to you, Monroe, or not.
No, I don't have any.
But he just sent it to my email, and he quoted us on that one.
Beautiful building.
What's that?
It's a beautiful building.
You like it?
That one, yeah, obviously.
On the outside,
You don't like it?
It's not what I thought was coming.
Oh, no?
No.
What did you think?
I thought basically, we walked away with Fernando asking him to put a lean-to on the one side. And then instead of having this little hallway thing right in the center of the building, to wrap that kind of around the one side.
Oh,
So that
just
we-
on the one side.
Just on the one side.
Okay, well,
Because-
that's what we'll tell them.
Because what I see here, if we're gonna place the building east or west, and if this is if that little hallway entrance is facing the center road, everybody on that north side of the building is gonna be looking at the trees. What the hell are we doing there?
Over here.
Yeah, Yeah, my idea was to open that hallway, wrap that hallway around the one side, and then bring it up along that lean-to, because that lean-to will cost a lot less than those mono-rafters that they're trying to install this way. All you do is extend the slope of the roof. And by doing that, you might end up with a 12 by 14 rather than a 12 by 12 or a 12 by 10.
Okay, so you're saying wrap it all the way around this way, like?
Yes, from where that little hutch is, just wrap. The building would actually end up having a lean-to such as this. That roof line would come all the way down. And depending upon if he's got this drawn to scale, here we got a 12 by 12 office, the way I see it. If this roof line would come down here, you might end up with a 2 by 14 office. And this could be one continuous rafter, which is going to be less money than doing it this way, because now you got all the labor and the different cuts.
Okay.
And then I thought this area here would wrap up, come all the way over, come this way.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, because otherwise, I don't know if we want office space on both sides of the hall. I mean,
Yeah,
I
remember you said telling him that.
Yeah.
This is what he just sent.
Yeah,
so
right,
he's
right.
rushing it too. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
talk
think
to him
he's-
tomorrow.
Right.
You and I could call him on a conference and talk to him.
Are you saying that frontless part would be connected to this side?
yes, we bring it all the way around.
Okay. Would you
Right.
would you get rid of this side?
I get rid of the north side because that's going to be looking right into
Got
the
it.
trees.
Okay.
If you seen him like that, it won't look like it's like off kilter.
No, because it's I know what you know, to look at it, it looks like it's out of balance.
You're right, that's what
Okay,
I
I
was-
understand what you're saying, but to get the most useful square footage and having that come around, you'd have the hall, the entrance, the hall, and the offices, along with a storage room and the clerk's office, a double office like for possibly the assessor, because they need a bigger office to handle everything. So everything over there would be one-sided, so you could have offices here, you could still have your meeting over there.
Okay. All right, well, we'll talk to him again.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah,
he'll
this is a
do
little
as many
different.
renditions as we need.
Right.
And we have time for this, obviously, because we're waiting on the grant approval, but we need to get moving. We'll look at the timeline here in a second. Yeah, the assessor definitely needs at least 2 offices, right, for you guys.
Nobody's asked me yet. Nobody has consulted with me at all. So I
No.
don't think you know.
Right.
Frankly, I really don't. I mean,
Well,
What do you use now?
well, okay. Right now, I have no choice. I have one employee. There's only one employee right now. So
By the
I
way,
am
we're premature on this, that's why you haven't been asked.
well,
We're not even
then-
dealing with the
okay, so
inside
you
yet.
don't want to know
right?
right now. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
this is not, my gut feeling says you need at least 2 offices, because that's what you have now. So I do know something about it.
No, I have 3 actually.
Do you have 3? Well, our 2 will be bigger than your 3. We're gonna have gold linings on it too. No, on a serious note, yeah, we're not even dealing with the inside yet. Here's the deal, by the way, let's go back to the grant a second. We're gonna see in a minute here, we're gonna pull up the timeline. Time is of the essence. We have to complete this project, or any project, even if we stay here and renovate it, it has to be completed by December 31st, 2026. So what we have talked about already, correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph and Wes and Monroe, we want to just get it to a point as far as the grant's concerned that we could get an occupancy, which means this as far as the village is concerned, or as far as the county is concerned. We need plumbing. We don't need all the offices built out. We don't need flooring. We don't need drywall ceilings. None of that. Even though we want to do that, that doesn't have to be done by December 31st. What has to be done is what we're looking at here, plus the ADA bathrooms, the plumbing, and the electric. I know we're almost there already, but it could save us at least a month worth of time. So when we organize this permit, it's going to reflect a phase 1 and a phase 2, so that we don't lose grant money because we're putting in LVL flooring or something, and it's back ordered. All right. So this price here you're looking at roughly $250,000. 240, 237, something like that is what he's thinking. So the other ones would be closer to the 200 range, and this one's closer to the 250. Once we button it down a little bit, he's going to get a firmer price, obviously.
Is
to us.
that price just for the structure, or is that including all the phase one stuff? Like
Yeah, this
like
is
the
just,
bathroom and stuff?
this is for the structure and those pillars to be put in
Right.
by them and them installing the building.
Right, okay.
Yeah. We just got a price from their concrete contractor. Not that we're going with them. We're going to talk about bids. We're going to talk about all this stuff. But he recommended a place in New Lenox. I called him just to get a feel for it because he knows the buildings. And his price was about $40,000. And that is to put the floor in. It's a 6-inch slab, basically, is what it is. And again, the building contractor who supplies the building installs the building with the piers. Okay? All right. Let's see if I can do this here. Now, we could all go back to our chair, and I'm just going to put this up for those who are here. Because you have a separate sheet on this, and we'll look at the timeline. I think this timeline is super important so that we all understand what it is. You think it's in there? I won't spend much time on it here. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. I just saw it. You want to play with it, John? Nope. Okay, here is a timeline, and we could all come back and say, because you guys have sheets on this. This timeline, I guarantee you one thing will change. There's no doubt about it. It's actually an aggressive timeline. But the first thing that we did as a board is not on here because it's completed already, and that is turn in our application to the censure. So item number 1 there, grant request to Will County. It says owner there, that's a censure. They're responsible now, hopefully as soon as Wednesday, to get that over to Will County. That's why the status is working on it. The next, and the due date on that is, you see July 30th there. The grant approval for Will County, we are hoping that they get us an approval no later than August 18th. That's more than 2 weeks. Because we can't really do any decision making, obviously, until then. So let's say they approve it on August 18th. The next thing on the agenda is the board has to choose the town hall building. So what we're doing now, we have to do again and really button it down and say, okay, this is the building that we really want. That due date is August 25th, possibly sooner. If the county was sooner, then we could do that sooner. But here's the big meeting here. The next one is the electorate meeting, because the township residents and electorate have to approve this. So that's why that's not started yet. But if you remember, we need 15 days. The board calls a special meeting of the electorate to vote on this, to move forward. And we need 15 days to do that. So that's why we have down here September 8th, possibly sooner. But September 8th is a nice day because that's the day of our meeting, I believe, of our board meeting. So people don't have to try to come out twice in a short period of time. Okay, so let's say we call the electorate meeting. Let's say that they vote positive to this. The very next day, right, because we already chose the building, and we're going to have a presentation much more detailed and better than we just saw here. We'll have a formal presentation with costs and everything involved, and that's why we're working on all this now, so we're ready for it. So we're already up to September 8th. On September 9th, we would be ordering that town hall building from the manufacturer. The same day, we're choosing an architect. And this is all board. The board's going to do all this. So we're going to choose an architect. Now, Lester Buildings, which we've been talking to, they referred an architect out of Frankfurt that they worked with many times. So we have a call into this architect, but we haven't talked to him yet. I'm just kind of giving it a summary. So stop me if we're
Does that mean you choose a building and you get an architect? What if it doesn't pan out? That you choose your first legit,
Well, here's the way that works with that. Yeah, and I probably should have put that in here. With this building comes engineered stamped drawings. And Lester's responsible to create this building based on Will County codes. So we're picking the architect right now. We just a formal picking. In other words, we're going to be in communication with this architect almost immediately. And what the architect's going to do is they're going to take this building with the engineered stamped drawings, and they're going to put a whole package together that includes everything else that we need. And we'll look at some of these: the septic field, the plumbing, the electrical. All that has to be on one comprehensive plan. And so he is coming into the picture very quickly. Well, that's a good question.
Please, I can't hear him.
Her question was, does that include the office buildings as well? It could, but again, we don't want, it probably will be, Chrissy, but we don't want that to hinder us from completing on time. So if we include that in permit phase 1, then we're going to be responsible to get it done by that particular time. So we'll jump right on it, Ralph.
you know, you don't even know which one to do. You're buying a box, you build a box, say, well, I hope that fits in there. You know,
Hope what fits in.
well, office space.
Well, that's what we got to look at. That's what we're
They're gonna
doing.
do that before they do it.
Well, we are. That's what we're doing.
Hey,
That's what we're doing. That's what this meeting is for. We got to do that. Did you bring your any ideas for that or no?
no.
Because Monroe, you wanted that, right?
I thought, at least, at the minimum, everybody on this board ought to come in with an idea what they think they ought to have. I'm sincerely not opposed to even putting, and I know because I'm a time constraint to try to run this thing along. But I still think, you know, the old adage about, I thought we were gonna have committees do some of this work for us, hell, we're doing all the work ourselves. And not saying it's right or wrong, it's just, and I know we got a time frame that we just putting some constraints on us. But I think there's some ideas here that I hope are not overlooking. I don't want to micromanage this damn thing, but at the same time, I know we got to push forward. But I thought we could have at least more input or get somebody out here that can.
I think you need somebody that knows how to build. I've never built that before. I bought a house. We all built a building. You built a house. I don't know if you built it, but
No, I built
Four.
I built 4 homes. See,
You know, I mean,
the one difference with this though, Ralph, is this is a pre-engineered building. We're not really building it. We're doing the interior remodeling, we'll call it. But it's a post frame. It's an erector set at some point that they pre-manufacture it based on these specs. And then they install it, and then we're responsible to build out the inside of it, which we've talked about some of these offices already, but we're not at that point yet. We're getting to it. How about let's hit this timeline, because I want us to see the timeline, then we'll go backwards to that, okay?
Yeah, we need to.
All right. So we're going to this is just a tentative timeline, because there's been concern even on this board as to the timing of this thing. Do we have enough time to make this happen? So we order the building, we choose the architect, we order the land survey. We may need a topographical land survey for this. The Lester buildings, if we go with them, they need a month to get these plans according to Will County that they contact and make sure that it's according to their specs, and the architect. They get their engineering plans to the architect in about a month, which is now October 15th. The next thing is the architect then takes these plans, this here with a bunch of engineer drawings about it, and puts together what I mentioned earlier, that comprehensive plan that shows the septic field, the parking, the drainage. All that stuff has to be done by this other firm, by this architectural firm. And they make those plans ready for the permit. Then we apply for that permit. He hands them to us. I'll be more than happy to be responsible to take them into the county, who I'm in touch with the lady that has our current permit for here, but it's been put on hold now for several weeks. So we would apply for the permit on November 17th, according to this. Will County permit approval a month later. That's, from what I understand from many people, is very aggressive. That's 4 weeks they have to, because we're applying for it on the 17th of November. We're asking them to approve it a month later. Some have said it takes 2 months, some have said it takes 3 months. 3 months. Okay? It just depends. You know, what I'm hoping, and maybe this is wishful thinking, is since they're the ones that are giving us the grant money, and they've put the end date on it, hopefully we could get those two departments. It's called a little salesmanship there, Big Mike. You go in there and you schmooze both departments and try to get them to cooperate with the timing. Doesn't work that way. Okay, well that's good, because the next thing we have on the agenda is March 2nd, so that gives us 3 months. So ComEd application, I'm in touch right now. ComEd, I'm trying to figure out right now if we could even apply for that. We may not be able to really apply for ComEd's permit until the county's permit is approved. From my understanding, ComEd takes a long time as well. They could take 3 to 5 months, 6 months I've heard, in wartime. So that's December 15th is we would apply for that. The next thing on this agenda is in March 2nd, our concrete contractor would scrape the ground, put the stone base in, do all the excavation, getting it ready for the building that's soon to come. At that point, March 9th, well and septic, the septic contractor comes out and does his thing. April 1st, the building would be installed. So that's assuming that the county approves the permit. Obviously, it's all contingent on that. But remember, the county's permit is on schedule a month later for December 15th. We're not even installing this building until April 1st. So even if it got delayed, we've got some wiggle room there. Rough plumbing is June 1st. It takes the building people, let's give them 2 months to put this building up. They say it's going to be more like 4 weeks. Just for the outside.
I was going to say, you might want to switch some of your trades. Usually the HVAC goes first because it's hard to bend it out for. Then the plumber goes, then the electrician goes.
Okay.
It's hard to bend, it's easier to bend copper and pipe than it is to bend ductwork.
Okay.
Usually the HVAC guy comes in first, he gets his ductwork in, then your plumber can go around the ductwork if need be, and then the electrician can bend conduit very easily. So
Yeah.
that's usually the way they go in.
Okay, that's all good. All right, so then you got rough plumbing, you got concrete floors. The concrete contractor comes in after the building is installed and puts in the slab. That's how it's done for sure on that. You got a propane tank to be concerned with. And then you've got your bathrooms, utility furnace room in July. You've got your electric at the end of July, your HVAC. All this could be done sooner. I was thinking, you know, when we put this down, this is the interior part of it. There's going to be HVAC and plumbing and electric rough that has to go in when that building is being dealt with. But this stuff here is the end stuff as well. So everything going perfectly. We got ourselves a building on September 7th, 2026. So that's the timeline. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys about getting a GC for this. My personal opinion is, I don't think we need one. I think we could do it ourselves. It's a pre-engineered building. You're not building a home from scratch or a commercial building. It's a pre-engineered. So all we're concerning ourselves with is, you know, the trades. And the way we've talked about it is it's possible if each of us are responsible to secure a trade from now. You know, we won't even need these trades for many weeks. But from now, we start talking to people about it. Then, you know, we start getting the prices and start putting this thing together. Originally, Sarah was potentially going to be the project manager. I see this more as a project management than a general contractor. If we were building from scratch a brick building or something like that. But this is more project managing. And Sarah was going to do that, but she's sick and she's taking a leave of absence right now because of her health. So remember Sarah, prayerful person, say a prayer for Sarah. She's at the doctor when I reached out to her today again. So she's just not doing great. So this is just a timeline that we put together. And again, it all starts with Accenture bringing it over to the county. And here's where I'm going to open it up now, please, to everybody's thoughts here on number 3, tasks to complete. The grant, the building estimates, the architect, the permit, the utilities, and then there's a list of all the trades that are going to be needed. And so one thought that we talked about was, like I said, splitting these trades up and being responsible. Like you said, oh yeah, it's all on us, or someone just said that. Or we have to hire a person, once we get approval, we'd have to hire a project manager, GC, whatever you want to call him or her, and turn this all over to them.
Also, say, I know Monroe mentioned the committee, getting a committee to look at some of this stuff. Can we do that to help maybe with some, at least maybe some specific things or whatnot? And should we start now, or should we wait until we get a grant approval to use the grant?
I don't think you can ever start short with committees, you know, and to be right upfront and honest, my little farming project is gonna start here in about 2 months. So all these trades, you can mark me off.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we need somebody that's got some control of this, somebody we can try to get some people out of the township, see what we can do.
I agree.
And I think we have to put the load on them. I think we got enough to, and I think we're gonna go forward, right? I think we got more than enough paperwork to do besides trying to build the building ourselves. That's what I think.
I think we should get a job. Get somebody who's done this before. It's his business, not ours.
I know it's a matter of coordinating the trades to get this thing done.
Yeah, it's coordinating the trade.
It doesn't have to be a general, just
A project manager.
Yeah,
or somebody who has the experience.
I'm sure we got people in someplace, you know, in newspapers, so they know stuff up and museums.
And we would pay that person to do this?
Summer volunteers.
Why
I think
not
it's,
for a
I
volunteer?
think it's pretty cool. I mean, my thing is, if I was a general contractor, a general project manager, or whatever, it'd be cool just to volunteer to be part of building the town hall, you know? I don't see why someone, you know, a township wouldn't want to be a part of that anyways.
Well, personally, I'm all in favor of it. It'd be a lot less work for me, but I am willing to project manage it. I think I could do it. I built 4 homes, I built basements and bathrooms and everything else, so.
What happened to the first 3? They might be over.
No, we sold them and made money. But I'm also up for somebody, this man or woman has to be, they have to be on target with this stuff.
If they're paying someone,
Because-
they're more accountable for sure.
Because it is absolutely 100% for sure that if we take this thing, not to A through Z, and December 31st, 2026 rolls around, and we just spent $250,000, but we're not done. I was told that we cannot get that grant money. So that person has to really know, and
And
they gotta make this happen.
I know you're using a lot of estimates based on just contacting people, but would the grant money cover all of this timeline?
We don't know.
Because half of it's going just to the building and materials, not including plumbing, HVAC, concrete, right?
The concrete's 40,000 according to this estimate we got today, actually. And the building is, let's say we did the Cadillac building, it was, pardon me?
Say it's
250. Yeah, let's say it was 250, just to be safe. It'll probably be less, but let's say it's 250. So you got 250 for that, you got 40 for the concrete. Let's call it 300. Now you gotta remodel the inside, do all the office work, drywall, flooring.
Is what our capital fund was all for this, the entire building, right?
My guess is it'd be for sure $50 a square foot.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, which is $200,000. And that takes care of your complete inside. That's $500,000. Now you got septic, propane, parking lot, all that stuff. Our project is a $750,000 project is what we presented this as.
They want a smaller building.
What do you mean? You think we should have a smaller
I
building?
don't know. I mean, you know, a town hall, and it's communities.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a community center too,
Well,
Ralph.
no, we were, when they went to the electric, we told them, town hall, you can't just blow it up and say, oh, yeah, we're going to put a community center.
I think it doesn't matter. I think that's a matter of just what we use it for. I mean, if people
I mean,
use it for,
remember that the grant is again, is not just to build an, even this building right here, and we could shrink it down in half. This is 2,000, this is a little over 2,000 square feet. What we're proposing so far is almost 4,000. If it's above 4,000, there's other requirements that come into play, like sprinkler systems and things like that. So we want to keep it down, but this building is about 20, I think it's 2,200 square feet. Yeah, this one.
that one would be,
This one will be twice as big as this. But again, we may not as a township build a community center, you know, we'll probably all be dead and gone, you know,
what's
for
really
20,
the
30 years
difference
from now.
between the two?
So we will use it as a
Between
community
a
center.
community center and a.
Well, I think they're kind of leaning towards Ashley's, and going down, walking into the other proposal, with 2 football fields.
What about that?
Concession stand,
Oh,
Like people to remember.
yeah.
But that's part of it.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a
Well-
separate issue.
You're saying, when you say they, you're talking about the residents like that?
No, we all get a proposal on it, you know, brought it out.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as that proposal, they could be talked about together. They're two separate conversations as well. That could be after this decision.
It needs to be, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we don't want to entangle it too closely because of the, like, I brought it up to, I brought that up to Matt. And, he said, yeah, keep that to the side. You guys discuss that. That has nothing to do with the grant. You don't want to be bringing that up.
So originally, the grants were all water-based, septic, or great water supply and stuff like that. So now it's changed, or used for anything you want.
Well, it's become more, it was more than that even originally now. Because he sent me and talked to me about it. He did the research. The previous board started with what you just said, the water.
Well, that's what the requirement was. Sharia and Harvard kind of pointed us in that direction.
Yeah, and then it grew from there though. Then it became more than that.
Yeah,
It
'cause they were gonna
became,
do the door, the office.
yeah, it became more offices. It also became, he read to me, he talked about how the community is gonna benefit from it. That there'll be able to be events in the building and ADA compliant bathrooms and it would be open to the community. That's their big buzz, is the community for this grant right now. So one of the things that I've spoken to them about was, because it has to be similar kind, and it has to have the same positive outcome. And what I told them, it has the exact same benefits to the community that it had here, except twice the size, and on better land. And he agrees that the dangerous road here, when they expanded, is a big factor. So he felt confident that Will County would see it the same way. But obviously, you know.
Who from Will County is gonna give us their blessing? When you say they, meaning Will County,
Yeah, there's,
who is they?
you know, I don't know the names of the people, Monroe. Maybe I should ask
Is
that
that
to
a
Matt.
full board? Is that a Will County board?
No, it has nothing to do with the Will County
So
Board.
it's not the land use or
No,
planning and zoning or?
none of that. I asked him that. He said there's no formal voting. There's a few people that are in charge of the grants for the county, and they literally will talk informally, and then when they're comfortable with it, they'll sign off on it.
And Accenture takes care of all that.
Accenture is the one that, yeah, Accenture is like our consultant, really. The county hires Accenture to manage this for them.
Awesome.
And
There's no charge to us for essentially.
no, no charge at all. And the township, what he told me was that they don't really, they depend on Accenture. So if Accenture approves it, he said there's no guarantee, but they usually go along with it because that's why they're hired. They're hired as consultants for the county. Yeah.
And just a clarifying question. Our primary goal is to get the grant, use the grant money to cover as much of this as possible.
Yes.
And the bulk is the building.
Yes.
Getting the structure up and just, that's just for everything.
And I think we all know this already, but the township is already committed to a little over $100,000
Here. So we're really.
because of the work that was done here already through the previous administration. There was testing and engineering done. When we talked to Tria, the engineer for this project here, and when we talked to Matt from Accenture, they both believe that there'll be very little money that will transfer. In other words, our township is gonna have to come up with that $100,000. That won't be part of the grant because we're moving this project to the 6 acres. Maybe a little bit will, but not a lot. Tria thought maybe 20,000, maybe. So it's a sunk cost. So that leaves us, let's say, worst case scenario with 400,000 left.
That, and you're saying that cost is, that's coming out of the grant money, not out of our pocket, not out of our,
Well, it depends how you think about it. It's coming out of ours. Yeah, we have, matter of fact, Tria just called and they would like to get paid their $100,000. So the way it was supposed to be was they were supposed to get on this special program and ask for this money to be approved by a censure so that we would pay TRIA and Harbor, and then we would get the money from there. There's bills that date back to 2024. No one did their homework, no one did their paperwork properly. So Matt was on TRIA like crazy to do the proper detail, and they did. And now we're in the middle of this auction. And Matt's fully aware of this, that it's very possible we have to pay them.
So I asked that because then.
Not possible, we do it.
If that is the case, then would we get the full $500,000 grant that we can use on this project?
Yes, we would get, yes. I'm sorry, I see your question now. Yeah, the $500,000 grant would come our way.
The whole 500.
The whole
Would go
500.
towards a new project.
Assuming we spend 500, right, which we should. We got we got 250 for the building, 50 for the concrete.
That
you
makes
know.
sense.
So we'd use up
So
that
one
money.
way or the other.
But it's still gonna cost, we're still only getting 400 in the end because of this expense here.
Right, I get it.
So if the project costs 700,000, we should be getting 400. It should cost us only 300,000 from our capital fund.
Right.
It's designated for the town hall only.
Yeah, right now we have 200,000 renovation construction fund, so we should be in good shape because the budget April 1st, so we should be.
Yeah.
So Ralph, that 200,000 separate from the capital fund? Oh, okay. The renovation.
That's in the budget
For that, okay.
But we have a total of 800 that we could utilize.
no, the capital fund, finance is that. 200,000 renovation.
In the renovation, we have
So we
200.
can pay the 100,000 off of that, and we have to show it in our budget, and then essentially give us the 100,000 back.
And,
Once we get involved in this.
right, if
Yeah,
it's
so we gotta,
contingent on the approval, right?
yeah, we pay them, they pay us back.
Got it.
And then the septic, we should be able to use the septic down there, because they size it for 2 bathrooms.
Yes, and that's part of the, yeah, that is, we talked about the septic being the most likely transfer to the new option. With that grant money, yes.
Well,
How much do you think it costs for something like that?
the first cost was 14,000, but that was.
That's residential, too.
Talk up a little louder so the video can record you. About,
Just repeat.
you think it's 25,000 nowadays? What's your gut feel? 20,000?
Unless you hear it, you get the one that you're really well. Keep it at that level.
Nobody likes that.
So do you guys think that we will be within our budget as far as originally we thought it would be like 750? I mean, I don't see how,
750 in the capital fund?
no, I mean the whole project itself. Assuming we don't have a huge parking lot, we have a parking lot for, small one.
Gravel for now.
Yeah. See, and these are the kind of things that when I said, if we divvy up the trades, we could start getting those prices. And-
Well, yeah, you had a general, I've had experience with this before, I'm sure there's some guys that would put it on like Facebook, because that's like, Facebook is so goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to have it legitimate, so they can bring the ad in the paper. You say if you're looking for a project on it, with experience, and interview like 3 or 4 guys.
All right, if that's what you guys want to do,
Yeah.
save me hours and hours of work. I'm okay with that. Because my thought process was we know what the trades are, we divvy up the trades 3 each and start getting prices and putting the package together.
I got enough jobs.
I do like the accountability of having a general. I get the cost saving, that would be nice. So I guess it wouldn't be bad to make it a competitive thing, or at least. But if we have a committee that also is looking in charge of working with the people, I mean, I know you'll be heading on.
Yeah, I understand your committee to be hiring somebody that knows what they're doing, that could put this thing together. Committees take a lot of time that we don't have, and a lot of,
Right.
I just,
We can do a committee for the other part of it.
we're the committee.
Yeah.
And the general can work with us and inform us on a regular basis.
Things he needs, like they do have site plan, find out what the assessor needs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do we need?
Right.
And the women's staff.
And what?
And the women's staff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we
Does
told
that have to
Lester.
be all gender now?
Yeah, because we'll need 2 bathrooms, kitchenette, a utility room, and 2 to 4 offices, and a conference room. Huh? Yeah, I know. We patterned this whole thing off of your building.
Boy, I gotta charge somebody for that.
But if I could just throw out a 30-second sales pitch on this. We have to see the vision for the community. We're doing this. Sure, we could go to 2,000 square feet, but all we're doing is putting up a town hall at that point. And if it's bigger than that, we could have veterans things, we could have bingo, we could have seniors events, we could have a lot of different things to bring the community together. Green Garden Township is unique in the fact that we don't have a municipality inside of our township. We are the municipality, so it would be nice, and Monroe laughs at me with this, I can envision that little pickleball, that pickleball field right in back,
Yeah.
along with the kids area right there with a swing set. Make it something that the community could get excited about and get behind and
Yeah.
bring us together. We get the early voting there, yeah.
I mean,
So.
people do use this building for other things already. I'm sure that people would use it more often if it was bigger and had AC and a bigger parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine for $750 if we stayed within our budget, had a walking trail, a kids area, a building?
Phase 2.
That's all part of it, we're not doing anything.
Well, I'm saying in the future, okay?
Yeah, let this building built first, we might not
Catch the
see that
vision,
right away.
Monroe.
We might not even see that. Right?
But this is
We wanna
all,
go. And even if if anybody places that building, we come out with people in, you can always ask.
Yeah.
for sure.
So could we talk about the placement of the building real quickly? Because I know you gentlemen are here in the audience as well. And your home is right next to this. Okay, so from my understanding, this was Monroe's thought, which him and I went out, Ralph and I, we all went out and looked at this. And I think that it's spot on. If this is the whole parcel, this is the 6 acres.
Do you mind a chance of a picture?
I do on my computer.
Maybe you could.
I could. Well, I got it right here.
It'd be nice to get there and put it in.
Lost your mouse.
I definitely would like to see, do you guys know any contractors in Green Garden?
I know.
I would
I know a
prefer,
few people that I have contacts with, either that I don't know or
right,
could get us going. And I'm sure, like, as we talk and as we discover things, or things like, it helps us, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so,
Sure.
go see here.
and I found out a concrete pad that was down the street from me, and then,
Well, this isn't super helpful.
even if we didn't get a general from Green
It's
Garden,
upside
we could
down.
tell them that we.
Can you guys see this? This is your house here, right? Okay, this is Center Road right here. This is Center Road. So this is our this is the 43 acres, this whole thing here. The 6 is right in here, where these tree lines is. And so we're talking about putting the building like right there. So it'd be the furthest away from your house that it could be without hugging those trees to a point where it's not suitable. And it would be as close to Center Road is what the county and us would want it to be. It's not gonna be set way back. So it'd be right there. And if you go out on this land, I mean, it's a big piece of land. This is a small building for the amount of land that we have. But Monroe thought that the building would be best right here. And we all seem to agree with that 100%. And by the way, those football fields that we've talked about with Ashley in the past,
They wouldn't be there.
no, they wouldn't be there. If it ever did come, you know, our way, they'd be over here. Yeah, they'd be north of those trees. They'd be completely to the north. That's if it happened. So that's about where it's at.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I was wondering.
It's no good for me.
No good for you?
My wife hands in that backyard, my son plays in the backyard. Now I'm gonna have people sitting here, no offense to you, but there's windows staring at my family. Right back there.
What about?
I thought there was
No, there's no tree line, if you put it that far up.
To meet the other side of the tree line.
If we could move that building to the other side of your tree line, that'd be great.
We would have to do,
75 feet.
No, it's further back, but when he's saying go on the north side of the tree
We
line.
can't do that because that's property, that's considered park district property. 6 acres is the only thing that the township truly owns.
But you had a
No,
thought.
wait.
Could
no,
you
Bill said something about doing a land swap with the park district property.
But that was with the 7 acres. That's behind
behind
it.
our
Right, yeah, I don't know if you can do it with all of them or both, I don't know.
I think that behind there is floodplain, so it's 40 feet behind.
Closer
The
to
7
Behind-
acres.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Monroe,
You're not
Monroe was
talking
sensitive
on
to your.
the north side of the tree line.
Backside of my property, the all was a little bit.
Right, but on the other side of the tree line's no different, right? Yeah.
The only thing I was thinking of, if we had to, we could burn and put trees or add trees to them, you know, to screen some of that out. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I get where you're at, but I'd be, if we did anything, we'd have to burn it and plant trees or whatever, or make something conducive that would possibly be acceptable to you guys too.
I just think
But
that,
I'm here just to put a building there and say, here it is, you're stuck with the dam. I by no means want to do that. But right now, we're limited, even though what Bill says what we can do, I don't know if we're gonna be able to make, if we could, we can make that swap in a timely fashion.
For sure.
Okay, so I guess, how I see it, if we swap that land, let's say now we made that 6 acres where we wanna just build a building, parking lot, and now that becomes park district. Now what are you gonna have? Cars, bikes, concessions, paper.
Right, football fields.
The future.
You know, I guess, I don't want to see anybody encumbered with something that you don't want. Maybe this is only some of the necessary evils, but at that time when that property was bought there, that came from like Lebron Haddendorf's sister that time when she was selling out because she was moving to Wisconsin. That's when this town board that I was on at that time bought that parcel of ground from.
I would question
Sure.
traffic, turning lanes, that road's already loud and crazy. So now you're adding a building, parking lot. Well, you know, has there been any assessments for, you know, access to the property, that sort of thing? I just, you know, I don't know what the capacity of that parking lot is gonna look like. Do they have any idea?
Right, and no, we don't, that's why I think we need some kind of plan, maybe some kind of general, something to look over, maybe some advice from you guys. Would you state your name, please, because we're gonna need it for the record.
Go ahead.
Colin Weldon.
Okay.
my name is Chad Beltman.
What is it?
VELT.
So we did,
So Colin is.
Chad, C-H-A-D.
We could check into it. That's the park district land there.
We can check in to see if that's even possible.
See, the problem, Ralph, right now, that parcel is the 37 acres. It's not subdivided. It's three parcels, as you know, the 7, the 6, and like the 33 or whatever.
well, there's 5 to 6 acres. 6 out of 1.
I hope it's that
Emergent, essentially.
Yeah.
But do you think that, how long do you think that will take to do that? Well, no, I mean, to get the land swap there.
I don't know. I mean, is it just, we don't even know if it's, the assessor was supposed to find out if that 6 acres is even, it's got 2 pins on it. What happened with that?
It's got too much.
It has 2 pins. Whatever
I don't
happened with
remember
that.
anything, I don't remember your question, I didn't know anything was pending.
You were supposed to find out if the 6 acres with 2 pins on it is,
Send me an
it
email,
has a
I don't
link.
remember. I really don't, send me an email.
It has a
There's-
leasehold on it.
Yeah, I mean, did you check with the county? Wasn't that one of those that you were gonna check with the county on or something?
Yeah, I
You went
thought
to the county on a lot of
You
stuff.
said you were gonna check with the SOA.
I don't remember that, I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Send me an
Well,
email,
look into it.
what you're referring to.
We'll try to discover it and see which one we can do or where we're at.
Yeah, the 7 acres we know is out, the 30-some acres is park district, so unless something changed, the attorney got involved and changed it, you know.
Well, the 7 acres is part of this.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just
yeah.
curious, did you guys, I don't know if you guys know, were you guys at the town hall meeting where they presented the idea of Peatone building the fields and stuff like that over there? So they, I guess, kind of, I don't know if you wanna.
No, go ahead.
Ashley's part of the Blue Devils, the Little League teams or whatever, it's a nonprofit. They offer to build, what was it, 2 football fields and.
2 fields, I guess.
2 football fields or a football.
And then 2 baseball or something. Right, and then someone was gonna donate a 100-lot parking lot. And they would run it. They just use the park district land, which it's meant for. And then, I don't know, I mean, this was all just a thought and an offer.
It was a concept.
And they were gonna do that at no books,
cost.
we don't give them
No cost to
anything,
the
we have no
township.
lease, we have no commitments.
Yes.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why somebody would put that much money into something that they have no land rights to.
Well,
Well, they wouldn't have.
That's-
Right.
they have rights.
Yeah.
They don't own the land.
They don't
Well, they
own
have land rights
Well,
for
what
99
kind of
years,
rights would they
for
have?
5 years, I mean.
All that has to
They would-
be
they said they
negotiated.
would-
Right, that's a ton of money for,
You bet it is.
that.
Yeah.
That's something, there's a carrot on a stick.
That's why we're separating the
I
2
know,
projects.
I know.
But-
What they said they would be willing to do is put the parking lot in, the 2 football fields, the lights,
Oh, she was gonna put a structure for a concession stand, she was gonna.
concession
Oh, yeah,
stand,
oh, yeah,
everything, everything.
No,
Yeah.
So at their expense and their upkeep,
For what in exchange?
For,
for the ability to use it,
They have a lot of problems apparently with
Right, we get that.
Peatone Park District.
Everybody gets
They
that.
don't
yeah.
keep up
But
their
what is the
property.
conditions? Because,
99-year lease.
We haven't, I mean, there was a
But that was the
conceptual
issue.
plan or idea that
Just
we
some-
just like the
Just
idea.
one of the things I wanna throw out for you guys' discussion.
this is the public comment time, by the way.
it is?
No, but for you guys to
Okay.
discuss in your
Well,
workshop.
It has to be now, right? No, we're done, we're kind of,
You know, just for your workshop session, though, some things to discuss that I saw missing was, one, you can't go to a gravel parking lot, because that's not ADA compliant. You can't
Right.
put a wheelchair through gravel.
yeah.
Two, depending on the size of your parking lot, you may want to start thinking you may be required to put storm sewers in. I don't know where all this water runoff is going to go, if you're going to create flooding issues. So you may need storm sewers, huge expense. Three, I think I would double and triple check that you don't need a sprinkler system based on usage. You're a public building with public assembly. I'm not sure you're gonna get away with just saying that we're like a residential house, that we don't need pump. You may need sprinkler. I don't know if your well can handle the pressures of a sprinkler system, that you may not have to have a pump. I doubt it, but you may wanna double and triple check that for your budget. The last thing, I didn't see anything for landscaping, which goes to the gentleman's point. I don't see any landscaping. Part of that landscaping may be a huge expense for, when you start talking about berms and trees, you're up to about $50,000. Your expenses that I saw not accounted for, you could easily be up to the 150 mark that's still not in that budget. And I just want to throw that out to you guys for discussion points.
Right, supposedly the storm sewers, there's underground farm tiles that run to the creek. So I think that part of things we gotta handle to some degree, unless we're mandated to do something different.
Again, for clarity though, they've always had the plan to build a town hall over there, and there's money set aside for that plan, so.
But the county's
it's
gonna
not
wanna
like we're
see the
doing
roof
anything-
and the parking lot, the hard surfaces, where's that water gonna go?
Yeah,
And how is that land gonna?
When I think capture that.
Mike, those are great thoughts, and
That's it,
they're
that's all
duly
I'm-
noted, because that's what this engineer architect that we're gonna hire, they're gonna be their responsibility to do all that you just said.
And
So
this-
we're in such the beginning stage that we
Well,
don't
when
even
you're-
have the grant approved yet.
Right, so all I'm saying is that as you
Just
start
getting
getting close to
started.
the upper limits of your budget, you may wanna throw in a line in your budget called contingencies, that they are the unknowns.
Of course.
That could be up to 150,000.
Yes, it's
Just,
good.
the timeline is solely for the grant money.
Yeah, this
spending
timeline
grant
was
money.
for the grant.
And
So
that's
all
fine,
that-
that's
So
what
I know
you-
you got all these other costs that would not,
Yeah.
you think we're leaving out,
Right.
that's just because we're
I
focused
get that, I
on
get that.
grant money.
But just be aware, you may not get your occupancy permit until you do all the other stuff.
Yeah, that'll all be part of the permit package.
Chad, that maybe clarify a couple things for you. I think part of that purchase of that land just to the north of you when Maynard Werner was there at that time was some of the fact that if the town hall came there, and if there's 1 or 2 meetings a month and maybe a couple of events a month, that we thought that would be limiting the exposure next to an existing neighbor. You know, I hate to think we can flip-flop that and end up with a park district, which I don't think anybody ought to be right next to right away either.
Yeah,
You know, I don't wanna call it a necessary evil by no means, but at the same time, I do wanna address their concerns with this too.
and I hear your park district conversation, I understand that part. But I also clearly heard that they want events, they want this building to be more than just a town hall for meetings. So now I see parking lot full of people, pickleball courts, and things. I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is just meeting.
Yeah, and you know, to say that's not true would be disingenuous. We own 43 acres there. So even forget now, let's say we just put up a small, tiny town hall, and that's it. Eventually, 10 years, 20 years, right? 30 years from now, that's where the future of the township is going to be. With a community center, a walking trail, it's going to happen. The question is when. And the best place for the building, in my view, is right where Monroe placed it. That's the furthest away from your property, and then all the other activity would be to the north side of there,
North of the trees.
north of those trees, and to the west, of course.
As far as the
back.
park district.
Yeah,
Concept.
so, you're right, I mean, it's gonna be that way, and, you know, the bigger issue up front would be that Ashley's deal, where she wants to, you know, have the football fields and all that. If we do that, then it'll happen quicker, and there'll be a lot more traffic. If that doesn't happen, and we just have a 4,000 square foot nice looking building, like a lot of people do along that road, private owners have the same thing, and we have a town hall and some seniors events, I mean, that's a different deal than the Ashley 2 football field.
And we do want to be good stewards, so, you know, we would love your input, I'm sure, if I can speak for the rest of us, but, I mean, we want to make it as comfortable, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's discouraging. You buy a property out there 9 years ago thinking you're gonna have
township, from my understanding, how long has the township owned that property?
Been a long time.
Long time?
Quite a while, yeah.
Like
19.
10 years.
Around
When did you guys
2007, 2008.
1988, 89.
Oh,
You guys didn't go
2016 was that one.
No.
Yeah.
2016 was that one deed, I know that.
What, the 30-some acres was in the 1990s?
3 sections, right? Or 3
Yeah.
parcels?
When was the 6 acres purchased? Because I think I had talked to Moore when I bought that property about purchasing it, and then I don't remember if he asked me later, this is shortly after that conversation.
Yeah,
Would that have been? I don't know how long ago.
that property had to be purchased back in the middle 80s or so. That type of
6
the late
acres.
80s.
6 acres?
Yeah.
I thought that was available when I spoke to him. And that would have been 9, 10 years ago, maybe I'm way off.
The 7 acres.
7 acres available when?
I think the 7 acres was more recently
Yeah,
available.
no,
'Cause we just-
7 acres was more recent.
Yeah, we just.
The first purchase was the 6 acres.
Was the 6 acres?
That was the first purchase, yes. That's in what year? I can go back and take a look.
It's okay.
But I thought it was in the middle
It was a long
80s.
time.
Middle to late 80s, that time.
Yes, Jane?
Although I can appreciate that you're trying to, you're under a time restraint as far as this, grant and so forth. There is a concern, you've got a September 8th, you're proposing for an elector vote. Yet if we don't have any committees, and I understand maybe a general contractor is a great idea, but why not still immediately try to form some committees? We do have many people here, and I know people have come to me and said, I'm interested, but we've never reached out to them. In other words, that are contractors and all kinds of contractors here. And some of them do a lot of big work. I mean, to me, that would be valuable to tap into and get their opinions and point out things like Mike even pointed out here. You know what I mean? I mean, there could be other things maybe we haven't thought of. You know, wouldn't it be better to find out sooner rather than later? Same thing with adjoining properties. I would be concerned about the road, in other words, the traffic and so forth. Is there gonna be something that's gonna come up on that? That would be, that's huge. If they all of a sudden require a turning lane, whoa, we're talking big bucks. So,
Even if we didn't go, with the whole Peatone Blue Devils thing, I mean, our original vision was at least like a walking trail back there or something, right? I mean, they
Yeah, we
used
could
the
just
park
put a
district
town
or
hall
something.
up there and be done.
No, I'm talking about the 30 acres.
Oh,
Say, for
yeah,
instance,
yeah.
that we
That
run into
people
problems
love-
with the
people
traffic.
would love that,
and the
but that should
parking
be
lot.
addressed separately, including
It
actions.
is.
That should be kept out of this right now.
For sure.
Because that just is a
Well,
whole
it-
can of worms.
yeah, it is
Doesn't
from a
right
grant
now.
perspective.
That'll shut you down in a heartbeat.
yeah, from a
just like
grant
the
and a
thing.
permit perspective, that's.
Yeah, that's
that'll
gonna
be a
shut you
separate
down if you bring
conversation.
that up.
But with the church, did you guys have
Um,
a question about the turn lane?
No. But that was
No,
a long time ago, so they built that. I mean,
Yeah, no. They have changed.
that wasn't really us, as far as I
Probably
know.
gonna take, I don't know if the county still does some traffic count, I'm sure they probably would.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people up and down there though that have been talking about that. There's a lot, you know that, you've heard it, you know, with the traffic increase and things like that. One other thing, just for the record, we do have a municipality. I know it's a smaller section, but we do have a municipality in our township. And that is Village of Frankfurt, okay, that is a section. So, just so you're aware, and those people do pay to the Frankfurt Park District and things like that. So.
Just to build some confidence, please realize we're not, we realize that we're in phase 1 of phase 1. This is getting the ball moving now. So we know we need all these things. So this is what's starting the process. So, it sounds like, back to the board real quick, it sounds like we're pretty much in agreement on trying to find at least somebody to be the project manager of this.
Yeah, and to that point, I would say it would be nice having you more available to do supervisor stuff, say for instance something comes out. It'd be terrible if you had to deal with that and this got put on the back burner, you know? So, I do agree with Ralph on that.
And I do too, and I don't want to make light of the process, but to Mike's point earlier, once the engineer does his or her thing, and the architect does his or her thing, and things are down on paper, then it's just a matter of picking up that paper and someone just being the chief of it and making sure it happens.
I don't think it's quite worth it.
It doesn't,
I can pick up the paper and say, well, what the hell happened last week, that early, in May, and it's supposed to be in.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. You have a timeline, and you have a GC or a project manager that keeps people accountable. What I'm saying is they don't have to determine the elevation. They don't have to determine the water runoff. That stuff's already determined.
Unless some contractor makes a mistake, and then you gotta figure it out with your two contractors later and say, well, the guy.
Right.
When a mistake happens, that's when you're gonna find out how much work it is. There's a reason why general contractors exist, because homeowners, like clients of an attorney, who is his own attorney,
Yeah.
right? Guys, if you don't do this every day, you're gonna make a decision on HVAC, you're gonna make a decision on plumbing, and sure as day, the guy who comes in with the electrical is gonna curse the two of you because you just.
Well, yeah, you have to have a project manager, there's no doubt. And
And I think
Sarah was a project manager, that's what she did for a living, but she's not available any longer. So now we're at Plan B.
Jay, can we get a list of names or something of people that have requested or asked?
Yes,
about
but
it?
in fairness,
So
I
we can
think
start
you need to
making
put
some
something out on
contacts.
Facebook saying, just keep it simple, say, we're looking for expertise, residential expert, volunteer expertise in these areas, name them out. Please contact your supervisor, at least you've asked, you've reached out, you've asked for people, okay? If they don't come forward, now it's head on them, do you know what I mean? And you're gonna say that at the elector thing, okay, when they go to vote. In other words, you're asking for people, and pick 3 or 4 of them for each area or something.
I was saying, we get the kids over there, they didn't want to.
Terrible time. Terrible, nobody reads it.
Well, the problem is, one
I
section
do
of
this.
it,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
the problem is, one section
Friday
of,
for the next-
yeah, it doesn't get to the
Because a
that.
lot of people told me.
Hey, gentlemen, do you want to give us your contact information in case we could update you on things that progress?
And this is a huge expenditure. How will you handle that vote at the meeting? It's gonna be controversial and whichever way you go.
Keep you in the loop and see what we can do. And
We'll
if
meet
you have
together.
some ideas, bring them back. Give me a call or let me know and stuff. We're just trying to, I appreciate you guys coming because I'm not here to surprise the hell out of nobody either.
Thanks, man.
That's the last thing.
Thanks for hearing us.
Right, like the least.
Thank you.
Thanks, thank you. Thank you.
I have one other request. I don't know how you came up with the size of things, or how, like, did you figure out number of people, like, in the building, or things like that, or the capacity of this structure, these structures? But regardless, can I meet with the general this is gonna house my future staff. And I am growing, it is gonna grow just like Green Garden. I need to, I can't just, it's gonna be, it's just like the contractor thing.
What do you want? I think it should all
It's
personally
not
go
that-
through the supervisor. I mean, not for anything, that's his job.
Well, that's fine, I would just like to be, I'd like to be asked.
So then why don't you just tell him what you need or what you think should be added or
Jane,
express?
you have this commitment from all of us, I would think, that before the ink dries on the blueprint, you would be consulted as to what you
Okay.
feel you need.
Okay,
I mean, this just makes good sense. It's your office, you're gonna project into the future as well, and we can always add on to things. So, yeah, for sure, for
Okay.
sure.
The selection.
Just like we, in my mind as a supervisor, I would want a conference room for us to be able to go in and have our meetings without even being in the big area. We'd have a conference room for that potentially. Well, I'm just saying, there's just certain things you think about, that's all. So, yeah, we'll consult. That's not gonna even be part of this, that's not gonna even be part of this first permit, by the way. But it does need to be in the comprehensive plan, I agree. But for sure, you'll get consulted.
I think just as well as Jade, I'm not sure if the court should have an office there.
You saw my paper, Chrissy's right here. Right there.
There we are.
Jane's over here,
We're
the
gonna
conference room is here.
where's the storage room
I
at?
just need enough file.
We're gonna go with all the file cabinets and all the other extemporaneous, stuff.
Now, isn't that like phase 2 stuff though? Questions? No?
Well, you don't have enough room. So what are we doing? You want to use storage space?
Offices for certain areas, you gotta build it to make it kind of work.
For sure.
Yeah.
Most of
down road, down
the
road.
size of the building is mostly based on cost, right? And pre-manufactured, what their options
And
are.
some of it's based on being, but not, it's not based on, because it's less than 4,000 square feet, so that we're trying to get into that 3,500 plus footage.
Yeah.
So that we can avoid getting into all the other expenses, unless we have to sprinkle it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and to Mike's point earlier, obviously, we're gonna verify all this. I've said, and so have you 3 times to Andy from Leicester, are you gonna check with the county? Not that that's our or our final say either, but he said absolutely, he checks on all that. That's part of their thing. They're responsible, before they hand over the engineering on this building, they have to consider all those types of things based on the county's requirements. And then the architect who puts it all together, he or she's the one that also does that. And their job is to assure us that this permit package that's going to be presented will be accepted by the county based on their conversations with the county and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's all part of managing the entire project.
Some of the reason why it takes so long to get the permit from the county is undoubtedly, even when you're putting in off-the-shelf blueprints that have already been built in Green Garden, the county will come back and have a litany of questions for the architect to answer and explain. So that whole process of back and forth takes weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone at the county that might,
I don't know anybody that's gonna rubber stamp anything or jump through hoops for us.
okay.
No, they're gonna make you go through. I've gone through houses, I've built houses, and I can tell you that Owen, in charge of land use and in charge of, he is a stickler. He was a framer by trade before he became in charge of land use. He will make sure that everything is to his liking. And the architects, even if they're the best architects in the county, he's gonna have questions.
Yeah.
The other thing though I do want to say is, I want you guys to pay as much detail, as much attention to detail in your conversation, how you're gonna run this meeting. This is $750,000, and where you're gonna have it, how the vote's gonna happen, who's gonna count the votes.
I agree.
Guys, $750,000 is a huge project. These taxpayers are gonna revolt if they don't think it was done. And if you try to throw it together in 2 weeks, my God, it's not gonna come back on me, but I'm saying, attention to detail, how that meeting is run. Your technology, your location, your, who's gonna speak, when, how.
That's all gotta be.
How I've seen votes on bond issues for the school district, where they've taken months campaigning, and this electorate is not gonna take $750,000
Yeah.
and just have a 2-week meeting.
No, I agree. The good news is we're gonna have 400 of it with a grant, so that's.
No, and I agree, I'm just saying that it's the attention to detail on that.
But-
I'm curious, are you excited about this? Like us?
Huh?
Are you excited about this building?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
No.
You're part of the town hall.
I'm part of the electorate, I'm part of, no, I'm not. I think your timeline is severely tight. You only got 3 months to spare, and that's on a tight timeline.
Well,
I
3
think your
months
budget is,
and then-
you asked me a question, I'm just giving you an answer.
For sure.
Your budget is, your timeline is tight, you got 3 months to spare, and you got a lot of things that I see that may be problematic along the way, hiccups along the way. Maybe you get it done, God bless you if you do, but there's a good chance you don't.
We're-
I think that $750,000 is not what this township electorate, in my feeling, with my finger on the pulse of who I've talked to, they don't want to spend that kind of money. They want to take the free money and that's it, they don't want to spend $1 more.
What are
And you
they
guys
gonna do
spending
with the
more
free money,
Huh?
Mike? What are they gonna do with the free money? Put it in their bank account? What are they
I'm
gonna do?
just telling you, the feeling I get.
What free money?
Then why do we have so much money in our capital
Guys,
fund?
you ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. The feeling I get from the people that I talk to, they want to spend the free money and not a penny more. They feel like if we can put this down the road 10 years, when you have disasters all over the country that are causing labor prices and construction materials go up, I don't think this is the best time to be building.
All
I
right.
think building new.
Or it's worse in 10 years.
Huh?
Or it's worse in 10 years.
Well,
It's worse time to build in 10 years. It could be, could it not?
right, if you're building half of Los Angeles back from a fire that just happened.
We're not in Los Angeles though.
You're not in Los Angeles,
But
where all the
Mike-
lumber is.
Mike,
You're building with materials that are being provided also to build Los Angeles. I'm just telling you guys,
Mike,
Well,
let me comment on what you're saying real quickly. If the building costs $250, which is at the high end, and if we shrink it down, it costs less, but if it's $250, and the interior is $200, which I think is more than enough, I think it's really gonna be $100 to $150 when it's said and done. Let's just say it's $200. That's $450.
50,000 now you're into the funds. Right, you've already eaten up your,
Yeah.
your 50, okay.
So
Parking lot,
it's, parking lot could be 8 spaces in front.
it's gotta be ADA compliant based on your
Right,
occupancy.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
You're well, how
Your
much
point's
your
well
building
taken.
cost?
The last thing I wanna comment on though is this.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying your well, your septic, your fire system, your parking lot, add that to your 50 and you're gonna be $300,000-400,000 into this.
Please keep in mind that we had the meeting you just talked about. And the votes came in and the people that were there,
Which nobody knew they were voting.
highly favored,
You keep saying votes.
highly favored.
I didn't put it in a piece of
No, not a
paper.
vote,
I didn't
but
put it-
they highly favored option 3.
All right, I'm not gonna argue. I put it in a piece of paper because nobody told me there was a vote. My piece of paper went home with chicken scratch on it from the meeting. I don't know how many other
No,
people went in
you
there.
put yours in, didn't you, for the,
No, I
you want us to go to this
Yeah.
building here.
Yeah, I talked on it, but I didn't put any piece of paper in.
I thought, well, someone else wants to.
Right, so somebody else, like, so put 2 on that one then.
All right, you got 2 votes.
But how many others didn't put them in? How many others left the meeting early and didn't put anything in? How many people saw you count the votes? What I'm telling you is that
How many
your
people
team
weren't
saying
there?
votes, but you were told, and it was very specific, and you were very pointed to say, this is a
it's not a
non-vote,
vote.
information only. And now
Why
you
is
guys
it
say,
not a
well,
vote?
you voted, well, you voted.
We're gonna,
It
we're
wasn't-
gonna bring this before
Do
the
you not
electorate.
think that helps us understand what the community
It helps
wants?
guide you, but you shouldn't be saying that that was a vote.
It's not a
No,
vote. I didn't say it was a
but one,
vote.
if it was close, I don't think we would
I
all
don't
been
mean
on
to say it
board.
was a vote, but that we had a meeting for the residents to talk about these options. So now, based on that meeting, the board is making a decision that has to be approved
I
by
don't
the
disagree with
electorate.
you. I don't disagree with you.
We also
So,
Am I
ran
excited
out-
about it? No.
We also ran
and,
out.
and you know what, if we present this to the electorate and they vote it down,
Right.
it's not gonna hurt my feelings. I'm not putting this isn't my project.
Yeah. And if
This
they
is a
voted,
project for the township. If
Yeah.
the township doesn't want it, that's okay.
I agree. If they
They
want it,
should vote.
I'm all in favor of helping in any way I can to make sure it's successful. If that's what they want.
Right.
And that's why I'm giving you guys these ideas and these talking
I'd
points.
rather have you be on board than just sit there and criticize every.
And I tell you what,
I'm not saying that.
but
I'm
no,
not
here's
looking
another
like
point
I'm
that I
gonna
would
work.
make if I were you guys. I would be more on board if you were to say, we're gonna build this. This is gonna eat up 400,000 of the 900,000 we have spent. Because remember, after this year's budget, you're at 950, 925. Reserves,
Not
right?
necessarily.
If you were,
If we transfer the money, it'll be up. What if we don't transfer the money? Because in Bill's budget, he only left us $85 to end it.
okay, anyways, you got a capital fund of 800 and something thousand. After this budget, you're gonna have a capital fund of 925. If you were to tell me, we're gonna spend 400,000 out of that to build this thing, and we're not gonna have any more reserves going into that fund, we're gonna lower taxes by a third. Because out of 300 and something thousand that you're receiving this year from taxes, you're saving 100, which means you're taxing 100,000 more than you need to. right? Look at your budget, there's 100,000 allocated to go to the capital fund.
So we have the.
So if you told me I'm gonna lower taxes by a
to
third,
lower people's
I would agree.
taxes now?
On the levy.
Hey, you
When
do.
it's talking about-
Yes, you do.
What?
Yes, you do.
We have to change.
Right.
I mean,
I want that
Yeah.
to get it back.
Yeah, lower taxes, lower your tax rate.
from where? I mean, what? How could you possibly do that?
The assessed values keep going up every year. Right now, we're in really good shape because we keep continuing to go up. It may not always be that way. When the tax rate generally goes up, when the assessed value goes up, okay, which is what it's been doing because of sales and so forth, the tax rate can be lowered because you end up with the same budget. Does that make sense? Like if you ask for, let's say your total budget was 500,000, okay, per year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you're bringing in more revenue from what I'm generating from assessed values, your tax rate in theory can be lower. Okay, that's how taxing bodies look at it. Okay, that's how the school district and different taxing bodies look at it. But that's up to you, that's up to the board. I
Yeah,
just
we'd have
generate
to
the
change the
assessed
levy,
value.
like we asked to change the levy before to go below 5%, and it was an absolute no for Bill.
Well, that was
But
Bill.
Bill's gone.
But
Yeah, I know,
Bill
but-
ran the
So
township.
next year, is this
so-
board, next year, is this board gonna sit here and in November, which is coming up, are you gonna say, we wanna raise the levy 4%,
No, we got a building already.
right? Why are you raising the money for? You got 100,000 more in your spending. So my point to you is that if you're gonna spend 400 of the 900, I'm okay with that, if you stop taking my money to put it to the savings account.
No,
Okay.
I understand,
Thanks for
Mike,
your
what you're
point.
saying. I think how I see it. For years, they backed us out of the damn thing. My idea was always to go to the consumer price index. And if it was 3% or 2% or, that's all we should be asking. Just try to beat the inflation, not try to build it, but just try to keep pace. For years, that has not,
Right.
that
And
was
the
not
only
the
thing,
case.
the only thing I would say is I don't mind you taking my money and taxing me as a resident, as long as you're spending it. If you're taxing me
Oh, yeah.
and putting in the budget,
Right.
there's 100,000 of our 300,000, third, that's gonna go into a savings account. That's when they say, hey, get off the horse, lads. You're taking a third more than you have to for me. You could lower the taxes by a third and not lose any of the services of the normal operation of
Now,
this.
Well, we
Can I
can do
just
that
add-
too, but now you have to go to Peterbilt School Board and do the same thing.
Yeah,
They got
I
money in
I
that.
know, you said that the last
Because
time.
that's
You
money
done it.
too, that's money that you're losing.
I will, and I'll
So
go to
let's
those
do-
boards.
Yeah, let's
So
go,
give me- tell me
let's
to
go
come
to the
together.
library board and do the same thing.
Ralph.
They got $1 million in there too.
Ralph, when I go to the school board, they're gonna say, well, go to your township. And when I go to the township, they're gonna, go to your school board, go to the township. I'll go to all of them.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop going to you because you don't have anything to do with the school board. You have to do with the township. I'm telling you, as a trustee, stop
Thank you, Bud.
taxing more than you have to, and
Can
I'll
I,
support this.
do a motion to adjourn? Do you guys have anything else?
I'll
to
support
add?
spending the money, but you stop taking it.
Public comment. I was just gonna say, as a resident of this community for at least 18 years, I am excited about, our new town hall. Because I believe that the new town hall can help bring us together more as a community.
Agreed.
You know, I always hear we don't have anything in Green Garden. You know, you go to Monique and they have all kinds of things that you have to pay for. That it would be nice that we had a community center, town hall, where the people could come. A farmer on his way home could have a cup of coffee. You know, a place where the kids could come and have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts like they used to have it here. You know, a place that just brings our community together more than what this hall. I love this little building. I originally was all in to redo this building, but when they started saying they were going to spend $500,000 on this building, I looked around and I said we could spend $500,000 as a community in a much better way. And I really was in favor of going to Monroe's until I realized that we have all that property down the street. And that kind of moved my all this money, we've got 700, 800,000, whatever, that's put aside, and they keep pushing this up, pushing this up. It's becoming a community. The best thing we have is Jackson Creek, you know, what they have to offer there. You know, and it would just be nice to have a building that says it's Green Garden, this is our community, and we're proud.
Yep.
Thanks, Heidi. Well, and you know what, as a board and as a community, we're gonna do the very best we can to be frugal and be concerned about taxpayers' money. All of that's important. And it's just, you know, we have the unfortunate reality that we do have a time bomb in a sense with this grant. So we gotta move it along, but we gotta be wise in it as well. So it's late. We probably want to end. But go
One
ahead,
question.
Jane.
I thought you were gonna, I kind of misunderstood. I thought you were gonna talk about how the bid process would work, or taking bids or things like that on
First.
Yeah, I mean, what the plan is right now, and again, all this has to be confirmed. Any bid, from what I've been told by reliable people, although they're not the authorities, Matt actually confirmed it though, and he is an authority. If any one bid comes in more than $250,000, then it has to be, there's different rules that take place. And I'm not 100% sure what they are, but there's something like this. It's gotta be a closed bid, there's gotta be 3, that kind of stuff.
Put it in the paper.
Yeah.
I
Got
put
it,
bid
yes.
on,
Yes.
Those bids, will come here.
Yeah,
Then you open them and
yeah.
But don't is that just for the grant money? That's for the grant money, correct?
Any government,
So you don't have to have additional bids, you can just pick one person
Well,
for
yeah, let me-
over 30,000?
Yeah, let me finish this 1 second. So if it's under 250,000, what I was told is there are no restrictions from the state, the county, anybody. If we had our own restrictions, obviously we do what we want. It makes good sense to get more than one bid. So our intention, I think, we haven't talked about it that much, is to get more than one bid. So if Wes was in charge of organizing some plumbers, he tried to get at least three bids on it.
So that's only the road district then that has to follow the
No,
over 30,000 statute, or? I
What
know-
statute? How much?
No, I know 300, but there used to be a statute for anything that might, I know I'm not making this up in my head, for
What's the
over
magic number?
30,000, when you spend
Oh,
over
over
30,000.
Well, according to what I was told, again, we do need to confirm it. If any one bid is under 250, so if this building is 240, we could say, yeah, we want it. There's no restrictions on it. The concrete guy, the plumber, all that. So that's what I've been told. I haven't verified it, so I don't know yet, but we'll have to find that out. But we want to get bids anyhow. We do want to get competitive bids on these and make sure that we're spending the money wisely. So, guys, back to you, and then we'll conclude. Even though we're agreeing kind of to have a project manager / GC, there's got to be somebody in our little half circle here that is going to make that happen. Doesn't happen on its own. So someone has to be appointed by this board to go find that person and then work with that person by bringing him or her up to speed on all this stuff. I know Monroe and I are talking to Lester, and Ralph, you and I talked to Cleary. You know, we're all doing our thing. So let's keep doing our thing so that we can bring this together. I'd be more than happy to work with the project manager to bring him or her up to speed, because right now they don't know anything about this. So someone's got to make that happen. So I don't want you guys to perceive me as, you know, trying to take over the project, you know, but someone has to, at least in the beginning, to communicate all this stuff. It doesn't, it really doesn't happen on its own.
I had a guy tomorrow, so
You got a guy? Seriously?
I talked to him today.
For, as a general,
Yeah.
okay.
Who is it?
Guys go with the construction and lights and
Now, we did have some voices say we wanted to try to stay in Green Garden if we could, but I don't know.
I think we need to open it up to them, but I don't have any
I
problem.
mean, hey, just open it up, put the door and see how it goes.
Well, and I also think that
wanna
we
go
can tell
with Ralph
whoever.
on that
I don't have time.
I feel
Wes,
like-
do you wanna go? Or do you want me to go? I mean,
I would make, you know, all the ins and outs.
You're probably gonna end up being a project manager, why the hell wouldn't you go?
Right.
Project manager, no, this person will be the project manager.
Well,
Is that what you-
from our side.
You're gonna find out
From our side.
Oh.
You know, I don't think you would have anyone.
I'm the project manager of the project manager.
Yes.
That's what he does all the time.
Basically, yes, somebody's gotta.
Yeah, someone's gotta,
Now, I'd also, I don't know if you guys would agree.
does he? Yeah, Mike, you got,
But I have to ask him, he's super busy, he's trying to get this.
Yeah, they-
building or whatever you call it. And he's just so busy.
You don't mind waiting for us?
I think we're gonna need to pay somebody so that they, I
But
mean,
you
this
have to
is,
see costs too.
yeah, you gotta, you can't expect someone to do it.
Now,
We could get advice for free.
I'm
Well,
totally
Mike,
cool
this
going
really
outside
stresses
Green
out
Garden
this-
for the general, but if you think we could tell the general to find,
It stresses that like.
you know, for all the other jobs, like ask around or get people from Green Garden if there are, you know,
Right.
say to do the concrete or the
Yeah,
HVAC.
somebody get reputable guys who are somebody to
Right, I mean, he can
Well-
work with the
get,
people.
management.
Plenty of concrete companies in Green Garden.
Right.
Haas,
So,
Country,
once-
yes, it's like.
Once-
Country concrete.
Oh,
Country
okay.
concrete.
Once we choose a project manager,
Oh.
then I think we could open up the trades to Green Garden. I mean, Mike does HVAC, Jim does HVAC, Jim Schaefer. I've dealt with him for years and years.
Is he good?
On Raleigh. I don't know, I'm just saying. You know, so we could open it up, the trades,
Or you could just
and
do
the,
the
and the
HVAC.
GC would make that
Pretty good
decision.
here.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy.
Are you capable, Mike, seriously? Yeah, so we have.
What would Ralph thinks of me?
Pardon me?
yeah.
Let's find out what
That
Ralph
was-
thinks of me.
That was a rude comment.
What are you watching?
I did.
Not
I
you.
gave a rude comment? What did I say? Jane? Oh, Ralph.
Yeah, can I
No,
have a
no,
motion again?
no. All right, yeah, let's,
Motion.
all right, so before we go, you're gonna contact your guy tomorrow, correct? And you're gonna talk to Mike. We're really looking for a project manager.
I know a guy, I asked him about it 5 months ago, he didn't know who he was.
I know a guy too that might be retiring.
But if you wanna get the names out there, give 3 or 4, you'll have some.
I don't wanna advertise for a project manager. I'd like to keep it a little tighter than that. I'd like to advertise, so to speak, to Jane's point, for tradespeople.
Yeah, it has to be somebody who knows trades, guys, who knows.
They got it.
Environments,
Yeah,
I mean,
for
it's more, there's a lot more to it than just, you know, some guy who makes phone calls.
And I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but I could be a good project manager, but I realize that I'm busy with other stuff.
You are busy.
Okay, but I feel like this is not rocket science, it could be done. And it can be done in the time frame that we're talking about. It really, really can. So, get this project manager, because I'm gonna put a fire under him.
Do I need to go out and find myself a foreman spot based on what you just told me?
I already have one.
Is there money in our budget?
And
All right.
somebody you pay, don't they have to, you know.
Well, you know what, this house will be for
Like they
sale
have
if
to
it
have
goes
a
on.
trailer.
We're gonna hire the right guy. He should
They
be
have to
right.
have, right, they have to have all
Oh,
the.
yeah. He's gonna get the right guy.
All right, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll say it.
Second by Ralph. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, guys.
Don't, I was gonna ask about this, audit people that we got.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
No, we got,
I mean,
we got that all